Jeff Mayweather talks about Mayweather McGregor and gives all he knows. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're gonna keep it coming. 2017, we working. Now, Mayweather McGregor, some people love it, some people hate it. I told you, for me, it's very simple. If you hate it, don't come to the videos. Don't be all in the videos, leaving comments. Pay it no mind. Focus on the fights you like. Canelo versus Golovkin's a great fight, stuff like that. But we all know the reality of it is a lot of people who claim to despise it and stuff, they're talking about it probably more than people who don't mind seeing it. Like I said, I think the fight will do what it's intended to do: entertain and make a shit ton of money. Now, shout out to Helen Sports, Eyes on the Game. She conducted an interview with the uncle, Jeff Mayweather, and he was telling the information that he knows, which he probably knows more than he can reveal at the moment, but that's just my speculation. Anyway, the link is in the description, and I kind of want to paraphrase. I'm not going to go verbatim with what Jeff Mayweather said, but after watching the interview, he said Floyd, his priority right now is he has a new strip club that he opened up in Vegas, so he's investing a lot of time in that. It's called the Girl Collection. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and check it out if you're in the Vegas area. And they've already had people like Trey Songz and all kinds of people from TMT and stuff in there. Some of the girls look cool too. I mean, I haven't seen the whole roster, but the ones I've seen look real good. But he's focusing a lot of energy on that. He was obviously in the UK with Tank Davis, so he's doing boss moves, you know what I mean, being mobile, and he's not as accessible because he's working on stuff. You know, he's keeping it pushing. Jeff Mayweather says, so he hasn't really talked to him directly, but he says if the fight were to happen, Mayweather versus McGregor, it's going to happen on Floyd's watch. And this is nothing new. If you watch Floyd, all of it from Robert Guerrero fights to Canelo to Pacquiao, all these fights were announced by Floyd. At the time, Floyd was like, download shots. And then you download shots, and then it's the Pacquiao contract and stuff. So, I mean, Floyd likes to be in control, and he wants to be the one to make the announcement. He's the A side. He's dedicated 2 decades to his life as a professional in the sport, and it is what it is. Now, the thing that you guys see in the title that I thought was really interesting, and I agree wholeheartedly, is Helen asked Jeff about the Oscar De La Hoya comments, and that's to boycott Mayweather versus McGregor. And he says straight up, Oscar doesn't like Floyd, and he hasn't liked him, so that's probably going to be something that's everlasting. He's probably going to always not like Floyd Mayweather, is what he said roughly. And he says because Floyd did what he wanted, talked all this shit, and beat his ass, and beat him. And I agree with that. I agree. Like, some are going to say, oh, he didn't beat his ass, it was a split decision. But you got to look at it. Floyd was the little guy moving up in weight, right? And some of you guys aren't even old enough to remember. Do you remember the time? You don't even remember, like the 24/7 and stuff like that. Floyd, if you really think about it, Floyd talked the most shit. He did what Ricardo Mayorga did, except Mayorga got beat up by De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying? So that's vindication right then and there, because I remember Ricardo Mayorga was saying similar stuff, or, you know what I mean, aggressive and the trash talking and stuff, and he's like, Oscar likes to play with girls, he's a maricon, and, like, you know what I mean, saying all this stuff, but then Oscar won. So that's your redemption right there. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's just like Ward Kovalev coming up. If Kovalev did all this, pray to your God, and cusser, he's a piece of shit, all this stuff, and if Ward beats him in the rematch again, then all that other trash talk is out the window. It doesn't matter, because you got the clarification that you needed. You know what I mean? And I think that's really haunted De La Hoya, because at the time, this was before De La Hoya had the the alcohol rehabs and the fishnet pictures and stuff like that. So he was still perceived as very wholesome and clean cut and the golden boy, right? So Floyd even spoke on this. If you guys, again, I'm gonna give you guys a history lesson because some of y'all don't know shit about boxing, and you ain't. It's one thing to be so young or whatnot, or you weren't into boxing at that time, but go back and do the research. You know what I mean? Me, there's people. Muhammad Ali is before my time. I wasn't born in those 70s or anything like that, so I still went back and researched the people. You know what I mean? And I think that's important, and that's something. With all this information at our fingertips with cell phones and stuff, that's something people fail to do. It's nothing to Ray Robinson, definitely wasn't my time, you know what I mean? But I know stuff about him. I know little things about his fights and Emil Griffin, and you know what I mean? I know little stuff about people that clearly aren't part of my generation, and that's just what it is. So going back, I suggest everybody go back and do their research. People, even if they were before you, you know what I mean? Look at the greats if you love the sport of boxing. But anyway, back to HBO and 24/7. De La Hoya was clean cut. He was the golden boy. He was wholesome. He had a singing career. He was kind of doing some Enrique Iglesias style music, stuff like that. Floyd was all up in his face, and he even said it. Floyd said, "Oh, he want to say shit fucking damn like me, but he can't because he got his fake ass little image he got to maintain. But I say what I want. I say what I, you know what I mean?" Floyd was just saying, like, I say what I want. I'm gonna beat your ass, Oscar. He was like getting a haircut, and he was like, "You know what? I'm about to go for a run after this. I can't wait to be." And he was just talking mad shit about Oscar. And even at the press conference, he bringing chickens. See, some of y'all don't know this. He was bringing chickens to the press conference and saying, "This is Oscar." Like, "Oh, this is Oscar. This is Oscar right here." Calling him a chicken, saying, "I'm gonna beat your ass." And he was all in his face, pointing his finger. You got to look at it as a man. That's signs of disrespect. Obviously, the biggest sign of disrespect in that type of situation is someone like they spit on you or something like that. But even pointing fingers all in somebody's bubble, that's obviously beef. You know what I mean? I've never had a situation where somebody was being polite and pointing their fingers all in my face as they're talking to me. You know what I mean? That's usually there's some level of animosity or something if it comes down to that. You know what I mean? Oscar's like, "You a pussy, dog. I'm gonna make you call me pretty." And he was pointing his finger all in Oscar's face, and Oscar was just blinking. And I know because what Floyd said was kind of true. Oscar had an image to maintain, so he didn't want to meet the same type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't want to respond back. He thought, "Oh, I'll just beat him in the ring like I did Ricardo Mayorga," type of stuff. But then he ended up losing. The cash cow lost. So I agree with Jeff Mayweather. I think Oscar has always disliked Floyd Mayweather ever since that moment. Any opportunity he even has, he takes a jab at him. Like, we're in 2017, he's still talking about Mayweather Pacquiao and how it ruined boxing. And he had a fight a week after that fight in 2015 or whenever it happened, and it was James Kirkland versus Canelo. And he's basically pumping up his fight saying, "You know what? My fight saved boxing." Like, he's acting like that. It was Kirkland who was very inactive with the whole time he was with 50 Cent. He still hasn't come back since the Canelo knockout. That just kind of goes to show you where his career is and how he's been handled. He might come back in September against the guy from Golovkin's country, Kazakhstan. But, you know what I mean? We haven't even seen him. He was supposed to fight Cotto that fell apart. I mean, this is the story of James Kirkland. There's several times he's pulled out of fights and demanded more money. And, I mean, it's Kirkland. Kirkland, when he's in the zone, he's a solid fighter, but he was inactive. That didn't save boxing. And neither did Canelo versus Amir Khan, a welterweight, a recent welterweight, or Canelo versus Liam Smith. But again, I've already talked about this. This is why these are all indications that De La Hoya is just hating, because fights that he has that aren't the best for boxing, he's not throwing them under the bus. Like Cotto Kamagai. Cotto just signed a multi-fight deal to work with Golden Boy, and Kamagai is a Golden Boy fighter, and that's an actual fight we're putting on, or they're putting on, right? That I'm telling you straight up, that fight is in my own state, and I'm not even going to apply to cover it. I don't even want to cover it. You know what I'm saying? Because of, you got to understand, when you have a business, a small business, you have to leverage your spending. You have to make everything count. And some people don't realize how big California is. Somebody said, oh, Ego, you're so biased. Why didn't you go to Oxnard to cover the Kovalev Media Day, but you went to Oakland to cover the Andre Ward Media Day? Once again, I can easily tell some of y'all don't have any type of responsibilities and or manage businesses, because it had nothing to do with that. I would have went to the Kovalev fight, but it was 1 day of work for a couple hours, and it would have been a 6.5 to 7 hour drive, depending if it's a straight shot or if I stop to get gas, which I probably would have to. It's like a 6.5 hour drive, and that's making good time for me to get there for 3 hours. You know what I mean? And ultimately, I just can't. It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? I have to, the whole drive time I take away from time where I could be working on the website, putting out videos and stuff like that, all for one media workout for 2 hours. It just doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, the Ward Media Day, and I don't have to explain, I usually don't, but I'm just telling you guys just because we're having this conversation. The Ward Media Day, I live 35 minutes away from that. You know what I'm saying? So that's literally nothing. All I have to do is pay gas and the toll bridge, $5 on the way home. And you know, I stay on full. I stay with gas in my car, so that's not an issue at all. So anyway, long story, you could tell with De La Hoya, he just always finds a way to down Mayweather. You know what I mean? And you could also tell by what's said then and now. One time he said, oh, after Floyd beat Mosley or something, he said Floyd's the best. I mean, he just keeps doing it over and over again. And then he had the blueprint for beating Floyd with Victor Ortiz and Canelo. They both came up horrifically short. And then he goes back to bashing him. He did that Dear Floyd letter a couple years ago and said, Floyd, you're all of what's wrong with boxing. He just blames everything on Floyd. And I think there's other animosities there too, like the Al Heyman. Obviously, Floyd is partnered in good with Al Heyman. Al Heyman was pivotal in his career, things of that sort. So Al Heyman has most of the guys that were working with Golden Boy at a point in time. So Oscar lost money. So if he's not going to be a part of the money and a part of the pie, he doesn't get a slice of the pie for a big Mayweather McGregor fight. He's probably like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Fuck the fight. Plus, on top of that, he has another fight, Canelo versus Golovkin, and depending on when they stage it, that could influence the numbers for Canelo Golovkin. So he might be worried, which is what Dana White said. He's like, damn, you sound insecure about your fight. And Jeff Mayweather was saying something similar. He was like, man, he said Canelo is the only guy he has. Jeff Mayweather said this in this interview that's in the description. He said Canelo's the only like cash cow he has, and he's a star, but he's not bigger than Floyd. And that's a fact because he lost to Floyd. So he's definitely not bigger. And he said, so real boxing fans might tune into the Canelo Golovkin fight, but worldwide and stuff, he says Canelo versus Golovkin won't be as big if they decide to have it on the same day, if that happened, which I think would be dumb for both parties. But he's saying if it happens, Floyd's a bigger star, so Floyd versus Conor will outsell Canelo versus Golovkin. And you know what the funny thing is? I know that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And I hear it from me first. As a boxing fan, lifelong boxing fan, Canelo versus Golovkin is a better fight for sure, because it's actually both guys in the sport of boxing. I mean, it goes without saying. However, I don't doubt that the numbers for Floyd Mayweather and Conor, even if it happens the same day, if it happens later in the year, it could rival Canelo Golovkin. You know what I mean? Because you're merging two different fan bases. I know people that watch UFC up and down, but they don't really know much about boxing. I know people that know everything about boxing. They don't really watch UFC. So you're combining, it's a hybrid. You know what I mean? It's like one of those cars that operate on electric power or gas or whatnot. It's a hybrid. So having those two different demographics, plus Conor McGregor, you'll do fucking none. He's from Ireland. He's not even from the United States, but he resides and gets respect in the United States. So you're talking about way different markets and reaches. You know what I mean? You could say, oh, Canelo from Mexico, Golovkin from Kazakhstan, but if you watch them, they're both in boxing. You know what I mean? And boxing probably has, you know what I mean, a bit over 1 million in change, like 1.5 million dedicated boxing fans. You know what I mean? And not all of them are paying these days when it comes to streaming and buying the pay-per-views and stuff. So I agree. I think, you know what I mean, even if, like, let's say it happens in October, I think there's a chance that that could rival even the Mayweather-Pacquiao numbers, possibly. You know what I mean? Just because of Conor got some radical fans, I'm gonna tell you, and some people think he really could beat him, whether it's boxing or not, and that's gonna drive the numbers, even if it's driving them off pure ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Even if Conor has no shot in hell, I think there's people out there who might think it. You know what I mean? I've seen smaller Irish stars. Like, I went to Vegas for Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz 2. I was in Vegas. That was a random January, right? And the Irish fans were lit. It was insane. They had flags. Some of them were drunk. They had war paint, face paint, Irish flag colors on their body, words. The MGM was crazy. It was lit. You know what I'm saying? I was in New York this year in March, St. Patrick's Day weekend, covering Golovkin versus Jacobs, and the Mick Connellan, an Irish fellow, right, out of the Olympics. He was fighting on that Friday, and New York was lit for St. Patty's Day. You know what I'm saying? So, bottom line is, shout out to the Irish fans. They out here. You know what I mean? They hold it down. So, I agree with Jeff Mayweather. And if you watch the interview, you probably will too, unless you're biased or something. But I think MGM is likely. He also said that Floyd has a contract with the MGM, which is why I think his banner was like hung on the side of the building for so long. So I wouldn't doubt that. So I think it would have to. I think if it does happen, it would be on one of the MGM properties. T-Mobile Arena is MGM properties too. So maybe the MGM Grand, maybe it's the T-Mobile, but it probably would happen in Vegas, and it probably would happen there. Other than that, Jeff Mayweather, he didn't have any other conclusive answers, but I do agree with him that the De La Hoya situation, we know why De La Hoya is mad. I mean, you think about it. Somebody pointing their fingers, calling you a bitch, saying you a pussy dog, and calling you a chicken, and you have to just sit there and take it, and then you lose. And then after that, you like, he gains your powers in terms of now he's the #1 cash cow, and he went on to make more money than you, and he went on to beat other fighters you were promoting, like Victor Ortiz. And if you really think about it, that's why they say the Mayweather curse. After Victor Ortiz, you can say, oh, it was a cheap shot, sucker punch, whatever you're talking about. But at the end of the day, Victor Ortiz's career never looked the same. He ended up getting his jaw broke versus Josecito. He lost to Luis Collazo. I was at the Berto rematch, and Berto hit him with the uppercut from hell, from Florida, from Haiti, and he ended up losing that fight by knockout. So his career has not been the same since Mayweather. Also, Canelo rapidly improving, and the only real blemish, because the Lada fight wasn't a blemish because they said he won, despite if fans disagree or not, is the Floyd Mayweather fight, where he was totally outclassed. And that's obviously a Golden Boy fighter. So Oscar has many reasons to be hating on Mayweather McGregor. And the other thing is, to me, is you just come across as a hater when you have to go out of your way to tell people what to like. You know what I'm saying? Like, even this new music, for me, I don't like it. I don't like this mumble rap. I be with the dope in the bush, perk set, got a molly, double molly. Like, I don't, holy molly, I got me the holy molly, done it, shot, holy molly, done it, shot. I don't listen to all this weak shit. You know what I mean? I really listen to oldies and old school music, real music with some substance. But I also don't go to middle school and get on a speakerphone or something and tell people what to listen to. Like, I don't tell them, like, oh, don't listen to that Lil Uzi Vert, don't listen to Young Thug or whoever. You know what I'm saying? I let the kids be the kids. I don't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So if we in my whip, then I won't be playing it. You know what I'm saying? That I have every right to do that. But to be a public figure and have to go out of your way to recommend that people boycott something for those reasons, it's entertainment. Whether you like the fight, you don't buy it. The De La Hoya family, you guys don't buy it. The Golden Boy family, y'all don't buy it. But to go as far as tell other people what not to buy, I don't think there's ever been a time where I've done that on the channel. And there's been plenty, like Danny Garcia versus Rod Salka. I didn't say, oh, we should form a congregation and have a petition. Nobody should watch the fight. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell people what to do. I just said, I don't really like the fight. You know what I mean? Kodo Kamagai, I said earlier in this video, I'm not going to it. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody paid all my travel expenses, or like, you know what I mean, I could ride up with them and get in for free. I'm not going to it. But if you guys live in the LA area and you want to get out and Kodo's a legend, so you want to see him on a Saturday night, have at it. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. I'm not going. You guys can. So I agree with Jeff Mayweather. I think this all stems from some hate, some jealousy, and the ideology that this guy did all this, did things on his own accord, did things his way, and he trashed you, similar to Ricardo Mayorga, but that's the one that got away because you didn't beat him. You lost to him. And I don't even want to go, so I know some people are going to be like, but De La Hoya should have won, but he should have he didn't win. Let me know what you guys think, link in the description. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.